girl AP, aka APY Blog, and I'm here with
Hi guys, it's Nimade or that African butterfly. We're excited to bring you another week.
and episode 5. We are on episode 5 of More Than My Size, and I just get more proud every time we sit down to do this because it's like we're building a library of content, and it's all dope content. So
Yes.
let's toot our own horn a little bit.
Toot toot, toot toot.
So we are back this week and we're discussing something that I think is pretty important. And if you are a person who's ever traversed the internet, then you know that you are very, very familiar with the topic we're bringing up, and that is online bullying. Um, I don't know that I think it's I think because we're adults, it feels so weird, but sometimes adults are like the worst culprit for online etiquette that is borderline sometimes just all the way bullying. And I want to just give you guys a little insight as to why this is the topic that we chose to discuss tonight. I recently had a photo shoot. I was asked to model for a local designer in Atlanta named Christian Omishan. She caters to plus size bodies, but she also carries up to extended size. And I was asked to represent that extended size. And I was really excited about it. It went great. The
You
launch.
looked amazing. You looked so good.
Thank
So
you.
good.
I
Killed it.
was hella nervous, y'all. You have no idea. But as with all things, we utilize social media, right, to promote and do things. And so she had asked at the time for us to do some TikTok challenges. She's trying to branch out into using like Reels and TikTok, and because they get a lot of views, you know what I mean? Especially Reels on Instagram. TikTok, it's so fickle over there. But at any rate, she asked us to do a couple of the challenges that have been going around. And so at the time we were filming, um, but the busted challenge was like the challenge or whatever. And if you guys haven't seen it, it's when you go from there to fly, but you drop it, you know?
That's it.
And if you guys follow me or you know me on social media, you know these knees is crusted and busted, and I am a disabled person. However, I've been doing a lot of rehab, and I was like, I can put my own spin on this, and so I did it. On Instagram, everything went over really well.
So
On
you did a good job.
Yeah, thank you. Why, thank you. I thought I did
Even I didn't bust it.
all
And
things
you
considered.
busted it down. Yes. In heels too. In
In
heels.
heels, in heels. Now, over on TikTok, when I first posted it, it was really quiet. Like it wasn't like it was getting like a whole bunch of traction. So I didn't even think anything about it. Like I posted over there and kept it moving. I threw her website up there. And then like I signed in later in the evening to look at other TikToks, and all of a sudden I saw that my comment section was lit up. The views had lit up. It had gone from like 152 views to like 23K by the time I came back. And I was like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
And as I started to scan through the comments, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of support, but there was a lot of shade. And I was so taken aback by the fact that the things that were coming under fire, more than my size, it was my disability. And I was floored by it. Like I ended up turning the comments off. And then I limited the video to people who are my friends only on there, like people who follow me and people that I follow back. And
Yeah.
I don't follow that many people who are on TikTok. So now it's not very visible to people.
Yeah.
But it got me to thinking like there was a moment where like I was responding to the comments. Like I'm not even gonna hold you. Like I was being a little bit of a jerk about it. Like I called this white woman Karen. And I'm just like, okay, Karen, here you go. But,
Yeah.
I ended up pulling those videos down because it's just not me. I have come so far in my life in terms of just being at peace with myself. I can't even feel comfortable returning negative energy to people. But it got me to thinking a lot about things my mom used to say to me when I was younger about, when kids bully you, Alicia, it's not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them. And
Yep.
you're a child, you don't understand it. You're just like, I just want to hit somebody. As I was thinking about it, I really was like, yo, the fact that people were like, oh, well, why would you get down and now you can't get up? Who told you I couldn't get up? Or
Right.
people were upset that I used the hashtag disabled. And they're like, disability where? Like, that's wrong for you to associate your fatness with disability. And I'm like, nobody said that my disability
Right.
is mutually
Right.
exclusive with my size. And I'm like, and if you scroll down further my TikTok page, There are videos with me and my walker. There are
I
videos.
mean, that's asking too much of them, you know, like
Right. To
it's asking too much of them to take 2 seconds to look at your page and get actual like content about who you are. They just would like to watch 15 seconds, know your whole life, and then tell you about it.
it was literally 15 seconds. And like I even did a video with like my rollator before, and like one of my very first dance videos I had ever done. This was over the summer. You know, I mentioned I struggle with arthritis and
Mhm.
joint pain because of thyroidism, hypothyroidism. Like, it's a very real thing that affects my life. Like, I have a handicap placard in my card. Like, I would never jokingly call myself disabled because I was
Right.
fat. Like, I would never do that. So the fact that there was so much commentary about it, and then people really just being like, you know, she's gonna like, where's who's gonna help her up now? That's not fair. And I'm like, it's weeks ago, y'all. I filmed this weeks ago. I have since posted videos of myself, obviously walking around and being normal and sitting at my desk and things. So I'm just like,
But
are
even
y'all
if you
really?
didn't, there's no need for those comments, you know, like
And
I
that's the thing. And I guess for me, when I'm scrolling anything on social media, right, I never feel motivated. Even when I see things I don't like, I don't agree with, whatever, it's not my cup of tea. I'm never like, fire fingers. I don't like this. Like, I mind my business.
yeah.
Like, all right, sis, do you, bro? Like, do you? I'm never like, oh, I need to go say something mean, because what is your intent when you do that? And I think that's the question adults need to ask. Now, on TikTok, it's a lot of young kids over there, right? A lot of young,
There's a lot of adults
right.
with the
But I
foolishness too, though.
expect the ignorance from children, but from adults, I'm just like, who
Yeah.
who raised you and why are you like this? So I guess for me, you know, my Instagram is a lot more controlled. Like, I have filters on it and things so that you can't leave certain phrases and comments and things like that. And I don't play. So when people leave comments on Instagram, you can't unless you follow me. But even if I see people being rude to each other in the comments, like, I did that. That's not the kind of environment that I want on my page.
Yeah.
I guess I'm wondering, like, as grown adults, what goes through your head when you're looking at people's pages? I remember a couple months back on your TikTok, I can't remember what the video was, and
Mhm.
oh, when you were like, you don't have to like me, like, it's fine, you don't have to like my looks or whatever. I
Yeah.
was ready to go to town in your comments, but you had already like turned them off. I was like, like, that was the one time I was like, okay, now I got to get
Yeah.
in. Like, how do you respond to online bullying?
Well, I mean, a few things. I try not to let it get to me because I feel like nobody who's happy in their life does that. Nobody who is happy in their life goes out of their way to say negative things to other people. Like, you have to be hurting bad or bored. Like, that's just not normal behavior. So, A, I remind myself of that. B, I I do not like rewarding negative behavior. I hate it. I don't like it. It like drives me nuts at my job when like someone yells and throws a tantrum and then we make allowances for them because I'm like, hell no. So for me, like someone being a jerk, like it's easier for me to just delete it than respond because that's what they're looking for. That's where they get their joy. Their joy comes from knowing they've upset us or riled us up or whatever. And I'm not going to give you the satisfaction, even if, because I am a sensitive AF, you made me cry. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of knowing that you did. Um, it's funny because there's this TikTok going around right now where people are stitching where the girl's like, whoever said invented the high road was somebody who can't handle the low road. And I've been thinking of stitching that because the person is like, yeah, that's right, because blah, 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 they can't handle our mouth. And I've been thinking of stitching it and being like, yep, you're absolutely right. I can't. I cannot handle the like you say something crazy, then I say something crazy to you, then you say something crazier to me. And now like either I have to apologize to you or like I'm crying because I'm sensitive. So it's never worth it for me, whether it's like online or in person, to really engage in the nonsense. Even though it's hard, I'm more likely to engage on someone else's page. Like on my page, I'll delete it and move on. On your page, I'll fight somebody and I'll say
That's
some
me
things.
all day. Like,
You know
I'm
what I mean? Like I won't do it on my page, but I will go to bat for my friends or other people.
here we go.
And I don't understand like the people who just feel the need to say negative things. Like I said, they're just unhappy. Like the only time I really express negative viewpoints and stuff online is like, let's say it's a third party page and everyone's just giving their opinion about a third party. Like I would never go to their page and be like, blah, blah, blah. But like, let's say we're all on the shade room talking about like the latest TI or something like that.
I
You know
talk
what I
about
mean?
the shade room too, because sometimes the comments on the shade room, I'm just like, who raised y'all?
Oh, it's a mess. It's a mess. But like, that's the only time where I'm ever really like negative. Other than that, like you said, it's about intent. Like, what is your intent? And that's why the one type that I will engage in is when they do the annoying, like, for your health. And the reason why is it drives me nuts that in their mind, they are justifying that they're doing or saying a good thing when they're really just being an asshole. So, like, the person who comes straight on and is a jerk, like the guy who told me I look like a gorilla or whatever, like, he's being a jerk. He knows he's being a jerk. It is what it is, right? His comment, delete. I don't care. But the one who's like, oh, blah, 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 but your health, like, we're going to have words because you don't really care about my health. You're just as fat phobic as the other person, but you want to tell yourself that you care so that you feel better about yourself. Like, but you don't actually, you really don't.
For the record, if you're watching this and you're one of those people, you're not concerned about our health, because I guarantee you do not return that same energy to a smaller person, because your assumption is that a smaller person is somehow healthier than a fat person. And if you see somebody with a cigarette on their page or doing anything like eating pizza or something deemed unhealthy, I guarantee you, if they're a smaller body, you're not like, oh, you shouldn't eat that. That's bad for your health.
Right.
No, you're assigning my size with a health status, and they do not equate. And you guys need to understand that there is no way of knowing anybody's health unless you do their lab work and you are their doctor or their nurse and their healthcare system. If not, you're not doing it. It's what you tell yourself to feel better about the things that you said. And a lot of times, I come from the place of thinking like I represent your biggest fear, which is being fat. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that really is a fear for people. But people are like, no, it's not fat phobic. I don't fear fat people. No, you don't fear fat people, but you fear the idea of fat. You fear the idea of a fat person being equal to you because of everything you've been taught about
Yes.
hierarchy works, it crumbles under
Yeah.
those. This is like the white kid who finds out that there's black kids in his gifted class, and now the lies he's been told his whole entire life about his superiority has somehow been shaken. It's the same thing for smaller people who leave these kinds of comments.
Yeah, it challenges their viewpoint that they've been told their whole life. Like if you've spent your whole life being 10 pounds overweight and hating your body and blaming your size for why you're not in the relationship you want to be in or you're not where you are career wise, and you've spent your lifetime blaming that on your 10, 15, 20 pounds overweight, it's going to kill you to see someone who's 100, 200 pounds overweight in love, living their life, doing
Girl,
their
they
thing.
hate it.
Like it's
They
going to burn you
hate
up
it.
inside because you're looking at a person telling you that the excuses you've been making for yourself are just that, excuses, because it's something else, because obviously a bigger person can do it. And because they don't want to confront that, then they start with well, it's just concern for your health. But they'll say that on a comment of like an overweight person just smiling. You can be sitting in a garden, standing in the flowers, say, it is a beautiful day, God bless Monday. And they'll say, stop promoting obesity, or I'm so worried about your health.
Right, like I'm breathing.
They won't go to like someone smoking a cigarette or eating a burger or blah, blah, blah. They won't say a word on that person's page. But like, God forbid a fat person live and not be miserable, then it's a problem.
Right. One of the things you pointed out that was so correct is about fat people finding love. So the very first time I ever saw this like be a thing, I had done a TikTok. I think it was like last year in like maybe March or April, and me and my husband were getting ready for something. And so, you know that making my way downtown, song, like that song. It was like a trending. It was a trending song at that time, so we used it, and it got thousands of views on Instagram and on TikTok. And people were in the comments like tagging their friends, like, and here I am still single. I'm like, Beh, this is WAP right here. I will never be single. Like, let me
Right,
I will never be single and I'm cute. Like, why are we playing games? Like, you're not Magic Daddy want me. Like, what are we talking about right now?
right,
Your
right.
boyfriend has probably been in these DMs expressing how he's never been with a fat girl before. Like, it would hurt their feelings if they really knew, like, the people around them who are
If
really
you
like,
knew the man in the DMs and like it's
uh,
never, and I think that for me, because I know we've had a conversation about pretty privilege or whatever people think that is or not, but like
that's a thing.
I've never, I try to really like feel empathy for people who say that they can't get anyone because of their weight, because like I've never had a problem. Like no matter what size I am, like there's always guys hitting on me, guys trying to get with me. Like it's never been like, oh, I can't. Now, does the quality change? That depends on what quality is to you. For me, yes. But I still get the cute ones.
Yeah, there we go.
It's shocking how many like very physically fit guys really love fat women.
It's
It is
absolutely true. And my husband
shocking.
always laughs at this when because my account is logged in on his phone.
Yeah.
Like, there are times like if my phone's acting up, like I will use his phone instead. So there's not much I care about him seeing. Like he can access my DMs whenever he feels like it. So there are
Yeah.
times I can literally see messages coming in, and he's just like, what? But it's always like some buff guy who's like cut up or whatever.
Yeah.
And I dated a guy who was one of those guys. He was not really my type, and I guess initially meeting him, he's the guy like I dated right before Jared. I didn't know he was whatever. It wasn't until we were butt booty naked that I realized like, oh, he's like cut up, and he was like really into the gym. He was really into working out, and I was not interested. And I mean like. He never really was like, oh, let me change you. He never asked for that. Like he
Yeah.
saw me one night standing on the street and was like, yo, come on, let's walk. And of course, he's like 10 years older than me. And he was talking to me all crazy. Like, I should have known better. But at any rate, I'm
Right.
like, I'm 19, 20, whatever, walking down the street with this guy.
Yeah.
And he was so much. My husband always gets mad when I say this, but I'm like, this is the first time I had ever been picked up during, and
Okay.
experience.
Hey.
I'm like, okay, this might not be too bad. Relationship did not work out. Obviously, he was
Yeah.
complete and utter liar for many
Yeah.
other reasons. But people were like, "How is she like with this guy?" Like, and if you had seen his baby mom, she's
Yeah.
this big, like
Yeah.
very slender,
Well,
and
that's the thing too, is a lot of it is unfortunately on the DL. Like they have the appearance of what they want. I think that this is a fear that a lot of women have too, is that guys have the what they want to say that they want, right? What they want people to see them with, whether it be physically or virtue wise. Like they want them with see someone with someone prim and proper. Meanwhile, they like dirty, dirty things, and they should be with the person who likes dirty things, but they don't want to be perceived as someone who's with the person who likes dirty things. So they get with like the sweet, wonderful person and cheat on her when she
yeah,
should be with
with
a
the
sweet,
thing that
wonderful
they
guy.
actually like.
And then same thing with that, with on the other side of it, like they want to be with plus size women or whatever type of woman they're into, but they know what looks better on the outside, so that's what they show on the outside, and then they are in our DMs. We're like,
And
no.
the thing that's crazy is I have seen a lot of videos go around of women sharing their, horrifying cheating stories. I don't wish it on anybody. But one of the things they always start with is she's bigger than them. Like she's fat and floppy. He left me for this, or he cheated on me for that. And I'm like, sis, like obviously she appealed to him because he
Mhm.
wanted to fight her to fight. Now, whatever his reasoning was for cheating on you, like, why are you mad? It's with a bigger woman. It's because you assign yourself a value over a bigger sized woman. I'll never forget when I was messing with this rapper in Philly way back, and he ended up being like the world's greatest whore. And once like all of the women kind of like found out about each other, I was probably the at the time I was probably like the second biggest girl he was messing with. And it's no, like, he obviously had a thing for plus size women. That wasn't a secret. Like, all the girls he messed with were kind of like on the healthier side. And at that time in my life, I was only like 280, 300 pounds. So, I wasn't crazy big, and I wasn't, I mean, at least not for my stature, or at least what I thought was crazy big, but I also wasn't super small.
Yeah.
The minute like some of them found out about me, the first thing out their mouth, never mind if these women were just as healthy, okay, were not that far off. The first thing out their mouth is, "Oh my God, I can't believe he's messing with this fat welfare, whatever." And I'm just like, "Oh, you're mad, man. You mad?
Well,
Oh,
it's because we're growing up like literally being taught like the worst thing you can be is fat. Like
right."
like how often do you hear people say like blah 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 blah, but at least I'm not fat. Like their whole world can be crumbling, but at least I'm not fat. Like they're literally
Like,
raised thinking that is the worst thing to be. And anytime they get in a fight, the first thing is you're fat. Like that's the biggest insult in the world.
I just interviewed um Anna Chapman today for her podcast Where We Belong, and we had that conversation about like the word fat. I'm like, if you walk up to me or you leave comments like, "Oh, you're fat," it's like essentially telling me you're black.
That's what I say. Like, yes, and the
I
sky
said
is
it's
blue.
like
Like, what? I don't. That's not an insult. You're just stating a fact. I don't know.
stating a fact. I'm like, am I supposed to cry about something I know to be factual? Like, it is facts. I am fat.
Yeah,
What else do you want to list off? I have brown eyes. Okay.
yeah,
My hair is in braids. All right.
yeah.
Okay. Like, insult me. Like, I'm more insulted. Like, I won't even lie. Like, if you insult me and call me like stupid, I might be more offended by that, because
Oh, yeah,
mama did not raise was no fool. So like, you're attacking my intelligence.
yeah.
Or like, I'm more apt for you to, I'd be insulted like if you comments on my parenting or something like that. But you telling me a physical characteristic of myself that I know is true, like, how are you hurting me with the truth that I already know? Like, do you ever notice like people are in your comments like, "Oh, she is so fat. That's not how." Like, do you know you are telling fat people these things as if we
That's what I
don't.
always say. Like, they already know. But you know what? The thing is, though, it's kind of like what your mom says, and it's something that I live by too, which is like what someone says more about them than it does about you. And as you know, I watch a ton of reality TV, and that's where I pull my life lessons from. But if you watch the arguments on reality TV and stuff, I use it as like just to dissect people. But you will see like the things that they point out that they're upset about with the other person is usually something that they're dealing with or something that they're struggling with. We're just in a spot where we can see both of it. So um there's the saying like what Sally says about Susan says more about Sally than Susan. I absolutely believe that because and it's something that I use when I meet new people. Like, what are you telling me about other people? Like, do I need to keep an eye on you? Like, how do you, like, what's your logic like when you talk about other people? Because I am understanding like where you're coming from when you say those things. You know what I mean? Like how we were saying before, like someone comfortable with their body isn't mad when other people make decisions to change their body. They're
Mm.
just not because they don't care because they're comfortable with themselves. But someone who is not comfortable with themselves and has to fight it constantly to try to be comfortable with themselves or just straight up hates parts of themselves, yes, they're mad at anyone making changes to like their body more because they can't or won't.
And that's the thing. When my daughter was going through, it was really rough on us when we, not us, but her, honestly, moving down here. She had been homeschooled pretty much when we were in Philly. So it wasn't that she wasn't around other kids, it was other kids were online learning in a classroom, but it was so small. And it becomes close knit, like your family. You know everybody, you grew up with these kids. She had been with them
Yeah.
since like kindergarten. When we moved down here, going to brick and mortar school was kind of like the first time she was going to public school. And I'll never forget, like, she was so adorable to me on her first day of school. It was her first day of like sixth grade. She had braids that she had gotten when she was in
Yeah.
Connecticut with her family. I had bought her this cute little skirt, and she had a little cardigan sweater, and she had this bow in her hair. She was just so gorgeous. She's my baby, so I feel that way.
Of course, you think she's the cutest.
Yeah, and she came home so upset because kids were making fun of the bow that was in her hair. So of course I was like, okay, I'll take the bow out, whatever, not a big deal. But once her braids came out, and she had a lot of hair. My daughter had a lot of hair. She's always had a lot of hair. And they made her feel so bad they tore her apart because she was slimmer back then. She hadn't started menstruating. She got her period sometime later into the school year, but
Yeah.
the girls down here are caked up. You know what I mean? Like very young. So
See, like it's the opposite of where I grew up.
right.
Everyone is a stick forever.
Oh, girl, down here
So
they
when I caked up, I just looked chunky where I would have fit it right in back
right in down
down
here in the
there.
South,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So she's like, taking it so hard, and the girls are like coming at her about her hair and like making fun of her, like, oh, that's not your hair, really just trying to berate her. And I'm like, Shira, you're gorgeous. Like, your hair is beautiful. You're beautiful. Like, this is why they're mad. And she
Yeah.
couldn't understand it. And they would pick fights with her, like, because the guys like liked her. She was new. Guys always like the new girl, right? As long
Yeah.
as she's not
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so she was getting a lot of male attention, and girls were trying to fight her over like this is.
And it's so hard to let them know at that age that they're fighting them because they're jealous, not
Oh no, I
because of
told her.
anything you did. Like you tell them, but it doesn't.
She couldn't understand. You're
Yeah,
absolutely
like because I remember that I had a thing with one of my friends, and anyways, her boyfriend had a thing for me at the time.
You
And
are.
I mean, like I was just whatever because they were dating, but then like he went to school, he went off to college, we were both still in high school, they broke up, we were talking, anyways, blah blah blah.
Oh, scandal, scandal, tell me.
Anyways, so what was my point? Oh, my point was that she would say, like, he told me, like, the things that she would say. She used to say, like, the nastiest things about me, my alleged best friend. But I realize now it's because she was so jealous of him, of me, because she could tell, like, the whole time we were together, like, he was into me and attracted to me, which is why she was going out of her way to bring me up to him and say really mean things. It just made him want me more. So,
no, listen. You're a little ratchet. Hold on. When I had first moved to Philly and I had moved there with my best friend and not my alleged best friend, she really is my best friend. So she wasn't being shady, but the guy she had been messing with at the time, he had a thing for me and she caught on way before I did. I was like very like, oh no, he's not interested in me, like whatever.
Yeah, it takes me forever.
She's like,
they're just friends.
He's like, all right, listen, sis. Like, he's never come over this much. He's calling the house now. He's always looking to talk to you. When he shows up, he's like, where's your sister? Like, and she was never out of pocket towards me about it. And I was always, she was upset and rightfully so. And then something did happen where he like really did try to come at me. Like he dropped his drawers in the middle.
While still dating her?
No, so they had stopped dating, but they were still cool with one another. But he was by that time just coming by the house to talk to me. And the crazy thing was, like, when I had first moved there, like he had introduced me, like his cousin had like a really big crush on me. So like I was kind of like talking to the cousin or whatever. And so he would like talk to me about like his problems with his baby mom and where his thoughts were about my best friend and stuff like that. And I was just like being what I thought was a good friend. So it wasn't until much later down the line that like I realized, oh no, he really does like me. And on the day that we were getting ready to move out of our apartment, she wasn't there. She was already like dating somebody else. She was at her boyfriend's house. He had like come over and like, I probably shouldn't have let him in, but he smoked me out. So I was like, okay, you smoke. But like he went for it. Like he went for it. He went in for the kiss, and then he's like, "What's up?" Like I'm trying to, and I'm like, no, like ill. Like you've been by my best friend. No.
Yeah.
But I was always grateful that in those circumstances that she wasn't, because the one thing that like where you said you're the guy you were talking to, like he was telling you what the friend was saying, he was doing the same thing, but nothing she was saying
was bad. Yeah.
She really loves you and really like cares about what happens to you. And like I guess she had explained to him why I was coming down there. And that just solidified my love for her and made me look at him like, what are you doing?
Right.
So like, no, like it's not happening. And I think that's why it's so important to have friends who are secure with themselves. Now,
yes,
later on in life, she and I have been best friends for like 20 years. She did share with me that there were moments, and I shared with her, like, I used to feel like I did not compare. She's gorgeous. My best friend is gorgeous. She's beautiful. And she was like, Leash, like, like we would go places, and she was like, groups of guys were trying to like holler at you. And she was like, and I would just be feeling like the standby. And I'm like, what? And there's this one instance where the way she saw it was so different than how I saw it. Because,
Perception, man, it's
girl, in my
crazy.
mind, I,
Perception is crazy.
we grew up in the same hometown, right? So like we've known each other since high school. And people always flock to her. But the one thing that I really love about her, and I'm so grateful for having her in my life, is she was the one friend who never downplayed me for my size, never thought that I wasn't capable, like it never excluded me or said, oh, you can't have access or this won't be for you because of your size. She was always proud of me. She was always like, "Psh, my bestie's on my arm, look at her."
Yeah.
And it was like vice versa. And that energy, that's important in friendships. You need to surround yourself with friends who don't treat you like the bag armrest at you wherever you're at. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, so that's what I did tell my daughter. Like, you need friends who big you up and you can big them up too. And you never want to be friends with someone who is insecure or jealous because eventually
It's the worst. It is literally, first of all, girls who say they can't be friends with other girls are a problem.
don't trust them.
Let's start there. Because there is something about having a girlfriend and being a girlfriend. And even if all your friends aren't girls, if you are a woman who cannot be friends with other women, I have found from many attempts to be friends with that person that that person is the problem. And that person is the reason she can't get along with other women, but blames it on other women.
Right.
The rest of us can get along with at least one or
One
two
woman.
other women.
And here's the
And
thing. I'm not mad at women who keep a lot of guy friends because I was definitely that person.
no,
And that's only changed because I'm
but
married.
you still had girlfriends. Like you
Right.
could
And
still have that friendship with girls. And there's a difference between that and women who are like,
I
first thing out of their mouth is, I can't
girls don't
be
like
friends
me.
with girls. You're like, oh, okay, I'm sure it's the
It made
girls.
me think about that TikTok challenge. You see, like the one where the girls are like, girls don't like me
Yeah,
because I'm pretty. And I'm
like
I
say why.
say,
Yeah, just the fact that you think that is the problem. But it really is, it's an insecurity thing, and there's no cure for it. Like I remember
therapy.
once it was Memorial Day weekend, me, my friend, and our other friend, we were like by the pool by his house. It was me, him, and her. And she, by the way, she's beautiful, slim, great body, gorgeous. She spent the whole time talking crap about every other woman at the pool. Like, I can't believe she wore that. I can't believe she thinks that. I can't, blah, blah, blah. And I was just sitting there like, the sun is gorgeous today. We are drinking and having fun.
Right.
And instead of having a good time, you have, like, I left early because I couldn't take it. But it's like, instead of having a great time, joking, laughing, you're miserable because of the way other people look. Like, you're not talking to them, you're not interacting with them, their life doesn't impact you at all. But even if it did, it's still their bodies and not you. And I just can't, like, for me, it's so hard to wrap my head around, like, being that insecure that you just can't be happy if other people are happy. Like,
There are moments where I see women and my initial reaction, honestly, will sometimes be like, oh, wow, I can't believe she wore that. But I check myself. Because the
yes,
first thing I
yep,
do is I'm like, you know what? There are people who say that about you. Why do you feel that way?
yep,
Here's my thing. If she likes it, I love it. If you feel comfortable,
yes,
feel good in it, and you think you look good, you deserve that. Everyone deserves to feel like they look good. Which is why I don't offer commentary on people's pages about what they put on.
yeah.
Like,
But
why?
it's all opinion. Like, I literally just did one of my Thursday thoughts about this. Like, everything everyone says to you is an opinion. And it's your decision if you want to buy into that opinion or not buy into it. Nothing anyone tells you is a fact. Like, I mean, except for like scientific stuff. But like, let's say we're talking about the world of like beauty and fashion and whatever. It's all opinion. Someone could tell you you look amazing and they're right. Someone could tell you you look like trash and they're right. It is their perception. None of it matters. The only thing that matters is what you think about yourself. And the problem is, A, not enough people understand that. And so they put so much thought and feeling and value into what other people say instead of themselves. And then B, too many people think their opinion is a fact. That's part of the problem. Your opinion is not a fact. Like you said, like when you look at someone, you're like, oh, why would they wear that? I still think that too. That doesn't go away. That's a human reaction. But just like you, I check myself and go, because she wants to. That's why, go queen. Yes, sis, do
Right?
you.
Who you?
Because just because I would never be caught dead in that outfit does not mean that you cannot rock it and feel good. And as long as you feel good, I love it for you. Keep it going.
But at the crux of it, if I'm completely honest, I tell people all the time, I still have insecurities about certain things. So oftentimes when I'm seeing a woman wear something and I'm like, oh, why would she do that? It's because I literally wouldn't because of my insecurities,
Yeah, there's
how
that
I
too.
feel about myself.
But at
And
least you check
people
yourself.
got to be honest about where it comes from because they're like, oh, I'm not jealous. I'm like, but maybe you are projecting how you feel about your body onto somebody else and how they feel about theirs. And that's not right. Like,
You know what?
because you have something on, why share that with somebody else? Why put that on them?
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree with that. And I want to talk about that a little bit more next week too. The whole projection, because something that I identified with and have been working on over the years is feeling intimidated by people. And I really came to the point where I had to ask myself, like, are they intimidating or am I intimidated? Have they done anything that is intimidating or am I just intimidated by them for some reason? And if that's the case, why? But we'll talk about that.
We're gonna not talk about that next week because next week we're gonna have a guest, but we're not gonna tell you who. But
Well, we can ask her too. We can ask her about it.
We actually can involve her in that conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope you guys have enjoyed the conversation. And of course, we want you to sound off down below or join us during our live chat while we do this and leave your thoughts. We really want you guys' engagement and feedback. And of course, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you know when we're coming to bring the sauce. And you can find us at right here down below on the screen at More Than Our Size _ the show on Instagram. And of course, you can find me at APY Blog and Imade.
At That African Butterfly.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, you guys. We will see you next time.
Bye.